Well, hello everyone, welcome back to Dprieto TV and welcome back to Prietology. It's the first Prietology episode of 2024 and it's the penultimate episode of Season 5. Wow, what a season it has been already. The penultimate episode, this is the longest ever season. The first time that we're doing episode 7, so Season 5, episode 7 of Prietology. This time we're talking about deep space stuff. Millions and millions and millions of light years away. It would take light millions of years to get there, so very far away, and talking about deep space galaxies. We're continuing our tour of the galaxies. We'll continue to talk about briefly the local group. We'll talk about some things in the local group. And yeah, we're just going to continue to talk about galaxies. A big announcement at the end of the video. There's a big announcement at the end of the video regarding the future of Travel Tidbits and a possible future Travel Tidbits series coming in the spring. So yeah, maybe Travel Tidbits will come back. And next episode is the final episode of Season 5, the grand finale of Prietology. It's the final episode ever, the series finale. So get excited for that. I'll stop talking. Let's start our Deep Space Divas tour. And yeah, let's get started and go over key terms. Alright, we got a short episode today here on the penultimate episode of the season. We only got 6 terms. A lot of them, like I said, center around galaxies. We talked about the local group, but we forgot to talk about the group that the local group is in. So, we have the Virgo supercluster, elliptical galaxies, active galaxies, colliding galaxies, that's going to be fun, Hubble Space Telescope, which is a probe, and a cool concept called red shift. Thank you. So, yeah, let's get started. Alright, let's kick off the penultimate episode of Season 5 with, we already talked about a group called the local group, which is what we live in, but we forgot to talk about that it's a group inside a group, and that group is called the Virgo supercluster. It's a giant group of galaxies. It's the home of major deep space galaxies that contains thousands of galaxies. It contains millions of galaxies. That's a ton inside this Virgo supercluster. You can assume just by the name it's huge. It's a huge supercluster. The local group is located on the outskirts of the Virgo cluster, so we're pretty far out from the center. It's about the biggest galaxy. It's the largest group of galaxies for about 50 million light years. Sometimes galaxies, how these clusters like the Virgo supercluster form, galaxies gather in groups and they're called clusters, and then those clusters gather in bigger groups and they make superclusters. So clusters, like the local group, is a cluster of galaxies, and then the clusters gather in groups and make superclusters, and the Virgo cluster is a cluster of galaxies, a group of galaxies, and the Virgo cluster is right smack dab in the middle of the Virgo supercluster. So that is why the Virgo supercluster, or the Virgo cluster is the difference, remember, between supercluster and cluster. So the Virgo cluster is made up of a lot of old, beaten up galaxies with 150 large-ish galaxies, like the Milky Way is pretty big. Or it's not in the Virgo cluster though, it's in the local group. But it's made up of a lot of beaten up old galaxies with over 2,000 dwarf galaxies. So it's pretty full compared to the local group. The local group, I believe, is smaller than the Virgo cluster, I believe. But yeah, fun fact about the good old Virgo supercluster. Actually, inside of the Virgo supercluster we have the Virgo cluster and the local group. They're running into each other. So currently, right now, the local group, so where we are in the universe, the local group, our group of galaxies that we're in, the Milky Way, is currently colliding with the Virgo cluster, another group of galaxies. They're mushing together. And yeah, hopefully, I don't think we're having any catastrophic results. We're colliding with them at about a rate of 155 miles per hour, which in astronomical terms is incredibly slow. So don't expect anything terrible to happen for now. If you've heard of a shape called an ellipse before, then this will pretty much sound kind of familiar to you. So ellipses can be found in space in the form of another type of galaxy. The second type of galaxy we'll talk about, elliptical galaxy. This is a picture of an elliptical galaxy. As you can see, they're very elliptical, very oval shaped. Why shaped like that? Let's talk. It's a huge elliptical squished ball of old stars, but the most important thing that makes it distinct is that it doesn't have the gases required to make stars. So it doesn't have your hydrogen, helium. Remember when we talked about stars in episodes 4 and 5? We need those gases, those elements, those crucial gases in those star birth nebulas to create our stars, like hydrogen, helium, 10 to 15% of galaxies in the local group are elliptical. So in our home, it's a pretty small minority, so about, 15 to 10% of galaxies are elliptical. Its older stars orbit the center more at a very slow pace, but it's really kind of hard since it's an elliptical stage. So you can see it's to stretch out, squished ball of stars. So you can see the center's kind of over in an elliptical pattern with like foci at 2 points. Dwarf elliptical galaxies are some of the oldest galaxies, which means they're some of the first galaxies ever since the creation of the universe. So these galaxies, since they're the oldest, they're made of some of the oldest gas clouds that we can find in the universe. They're smaller, they're harder to find, but they outnumber all other galaxies in the universe, though. Giant elliptical galaxies, remember dwarf is a smaller, these giant elliptical galaxies are rarer, unlike these dwarf elliptical galaxies, but they sometimes have enough gravity to upset the mass of a supercluster. Remember we talked about the Virgo supercluster. If you think clusters are huge enough, Virgo supercluster is massive, but these have enough gravity, especially these giant elliptical galaxies, have enough gravity to even upset a supercluster. Fun fact about elliptical galaxies, the largest elliptical galaxy that we've been able to find is 1 million light years across. That is massive, and it'll take you 1 million years traveling at the speed of light to get from one edge to the other. So, the largest is 1 million, the smallest is 1/10 of the Milky Way. So, you can see that's a pretty big of a difference. I don't know how wide the Milky Way is. I think we learned about it in the last episode. I probably mentioned it, but yeah, I forgot. Active galaxies. It's kind of a conundrum because these are somewhat so cool at the same time, but somewhat horrifying at the other time. Technically, it's one of the other type of galaxies, not one of the main 3 ones, but active galaxies. They live up to their name pretty well. It's a galaxy with a supermassive black hole in the middle. Remember we talked about supermassive black holes last time when we talked about the Milky Way. We have a supermassive black hole in the middle, or SMBH. So it's a galaxy with a supermassive black hole in the middle that actively, literally, is ripping it apart, is literally sucking in its inside. It's tearing it apart from the inside. This is a picture of an active galaxy. You see that stuff shooting out the bottom and the top? That is it. That's all the energy created by it. Literally a galaxy it's having itself torn apart by its own supermassive black hole in the middle. It's a horrifying death for these galaxies, to be torn apart by something so strong and powerful as a black hole, a supermassive black hole at that. So like I said, the massive energy created by these SMBHs unleash some of the biggest storms in the universe, some of the biggest solar storms. Like I said, let's put that picture back up. So much energy coming out of that, you can assume how much storms and energy and power comes out of such a terrible amount of energy like that. It's huge. So with this massive energy, it shoots out a massive energy like electromagnetic energy. So you got your rapid waves, your very, very fast high energy waves like X-rays, gamma rays, and other radio waves. You can say all the other waves on the electromagnetic spectrum. And as you saw in the picture, it can make a fountain formation out of the top of these galaxies, out of the bottom. So it's kind of like there's something in the middle. It's kind of like this pen or this marker, and then there's the galaxy around it. It's kind of like that, like a skewer. Fun fact about active galaxies, if that wasn't already enough, it was discovered by, let's see if I can say this right, Carl Keenan Seifert. Carl Keenan Seifert in 1943, I assume. He used one of these radio telescopes, and these can also make pulsars. Here's another type of galaxy. It's not one of our types, but it is super cool. I'll show you some images. Colliding galaxies. It literally is what it is. 2 galaxies, the deformation that occurs when 2 galaxies literally ram into each other. So remember last time when we talked about the local group, we said that our Milky Way galaxy, where we live, and the Andromeda galaxy, another galaxy in the local group, are heading towards each other. It won't happen for another billion years, unfortunately. So yeah, it's 2 galaxies crashing into each other, and it usually occurs between 2 middle-aged galaxies because they are whizzing around more, they're bigger, so there are more formations are being able to see. Because say you have like a little galaxy, like a little dwarf galaxy, and then you have a giant galaxy like Andromeda, like what we talked about, a little dwarf elliptical galaxy and then a giant spiral galaxy like Andromeda. That little galaxy is getting eaten up and destroyed in a second. So the galaxies, the reason that these galaxies collide is not that they're just like It's kind of like traffic. It's essentially just a giant traffic, a car crash in the middle of space. The reason that these galaxies collide is that they're drawn towards each other due to their massive gravities. The gravities of galaxies, people, are huge. The force of the collision, making them the force of impact between two galaxies is massive as well, and it makes them spin into cartwheels. Essentially, it's like, and then they just like spin and then go like this and then just start deforming into each other, and they form essentially one spiral arm. This is a colliding galaxy. You can see each galaxy kind of has like its own spiral arms deforming into each other. This is a process that can take a long time because if you look up a video of a colliding galaxy, you can tell it's over a long period of time that these galaxies collide. Because they have to travel a massive distance to be able to form each of them their one spiral arm. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. And usually what happens after the collision, stars can sometimes form. Stars can form from this collision. Remember our starburst nebulae from when we talked about stars and how they form. They're hydrogen, helium. There's so much gas that makes up these starburst nebulas, and they're stars. So sometimes, if the conditions are right between two colliding galaxies ramming into each other, is that stars can form, and then the gases created, the other gases like left behind by the galaxy just drift off into space and just become one with space. Fun fact! Average time, like I told you, it's a very slow process. The average time for galaxies to merge after one collision, so you have two colliding galaxies, for them to merge and, like I said, create those stars, and then the rest is driven off. So the average time for these galaxies to form after the collision is 1 billion years. Billion with a B as in ball. 1 billion years for these galaxies, colliding galaxies, to merge together and create one single galaxy, just some random cluster of gas, stars, planets, and other stuff. Yeah. Penultimate, what's it called? Penultimate topic. My goodness, I cannot speak. If you haven't heard of this space probe before, look it up. Before watching this, you should look it up, because I'm essentially going to go over it fast, because usually people heard of this. It is the world famous Hubble Space Telescope. Now replaced by the James Webb Telescope, but this one's still active. The Hubble Space Telescope, the world famous space telescope. It's not here on land, it's up in the atmosphere, taking amazing pictures of space. It has taken some of the most beautiful pictures, won awards for some of the most beautiful pictures of space you've ever taken. This was taken by Hubble. This one, it can see pictures of galaxies, nebulas, planets, stars, even colliding galaxies. Some of those pictures of colliding galaxies, that's from Hubble. So yeah, great thing, great Hubble Space Telescope. It's an amazing thing. And yeah, let's talk about it a bit more. It can see in almost every frequency. It can see in ultraviolet, infrared, radio, microwave, light, X-ray, gamma ray. So it can see in all of those frequencies, which makes it able to pick up so many images. It can focus on a little microscopic, nanoscopic speck of light that is millions of light years away. Because think about it, that light from that star or that thing it's trying to capture has to travel millions of light years to get it where it takes millions of years for it to get there. And Hubble is able to center and focus on it where it is. Actually, what happens with Hubble, since it's able to photograph stuff so far away, essentially, it's been able to look back in time. Sort of, technically. It's that it's able to capture light from galaxies. Let's say you have a galaxy. It's been able to capture light from galaxies even 13 billion miles away. Not miles, light years away. We're talking astronomically. 13 billion miles away. And essentially, it can help astronomers look into the universe as it was long ago. Because think about it, 13 billion, the Earth, some people think that the universe was created 13 billion years ago, sorry. So, looking at that light essentially kind of gives us an image of what the universe looked like 13 billion years ago. Fun fact about Hubble, it takes 97 minutes to orbit Earth. I forget how long the ISS takes. I think it's 90 minutes for it to orbit Earth. So yeah, pretty speedy thing, orbiting the Earth, because it's got to go all the way around the Earth. It's pretty fast for a space telescope. Alright, the final term of Season 5, Episode 7, the Deep Space Divas. And what divas we have talked about today. The cluster, elliptical galaxies, active galaxies, Hubble space, colliding galaxies. This is where it kind of all wraps up. We're done talking about galaxies after this episode. We got the final episode next, the series finale. So yeah, let's talk about something interesting. You're going to want to pay attention to this because I'm going to throw a lot at you. So hopefully pay attention. Hopefully it gets through your brain. Redshift. I don't know if you've heard it before. It's kind of a weird astronomical concept. It exists. It's a concept. It's a thing. It hasn't technically been proved. Well, actually it has been proved, but it's not like the evidence is super clear. But it's a concept, redshift. It's a concept that proves that the universe is constantly getting bigger. The universe, have you ever heard that? The universe is expanding. People say it's true. The universe is constantly getting bigger as we speak. And it can make rapid galaxies, fast galaxies, farther galaxies look redder than they actually are. So, let me explain. You have your electromagnetic spectrum. Let's put an electromagnetic spectrum in my hand. This is your electromagnetic spectrum. You have red on my right side, no, on my left side, and you have the other ones like purple, ultraviolet on my right side. So, essentially, all the light coming from galaxies can shift in frequency because they're so far away, we're talking millions of light years. When it comes toward us, towards our visible eyes on Earth, it can shift in frequency. And remember, we talk about our electromagnetic spectrum, it's going to go from either this way or that way. So, and sometimes, because they're so far away, they lose energy, and if you lose energy on the electromagnetic spectrum, you go towards infrared. You go over infrared, and some of our more redder, darker colors, like red, is a darker color. And because some of the many deep space objects that we have are traveling away from Earth, light from them, like I said, is shifted towards a redder, lower frequency, making them look redder than they actually are. That is red shift. It's literally shifting towards a redder color, making it look actually redder than it is. So, yeah, that's red shift. Because it's faster, that means that galaxies that travel faster, which, like, I don't know a galaxy that travels faster, I guess all galaxies, except for elliptical galaxies, those are slow. Galaxies that travel faster tend to have more red shift because they're whizzing off in space. And so, because they travel faster, that means that the faster they go, the more red shift. That means that the farther a galaxy is, the more red shifts. Take a break and let's talk about a fun fact about redshift. It was actually the Hubble Space Telescope, the aforementioned Hubble Space Telescope, that discovered redshift. So it wasn't our human eyes, it was the Hubble Space Telescope. I'm telling you, that thing can see in every spectrum imaginable. That thing was able to spot redshift, I forget when, but yeah. It was the one that figured out that everything, like I said, the universe is expanding, which means that everything is traveling away from us. So theoretically, these galaxies are going to get redder and redder and redder and redder because the light coming from them has to travel a greater distance, which means it's losing a more amount of energy. So yeah, the universe is expanding, people. Whew, my goodness, that took forever. Whew, but yeah, Season 5, Episode 7 is a wrap. Let's go over announcements. We talk about the series finale and some upcoming things. I'm still a bit tired talking about redshift. My goodness, that was a lot. But yeah, that is the penultimate episode of Season 5 done. As you can see, I don't have my lava lamp this time, unfortunately. It's somewhere else. But yeah, good old Statue of Liberty that we had last season. But yeah, alright, announcements time. Travel Tidbits is coming back. Yay! I don't hear you cheering, but oh well. Travel Tidbits is coming back here in 2024. We are going to... This location has been determined, but we are most likely going to... Las Vegas. We are going back to Las Vegas. That's going to be interesting. We haven't been there since the fall 2019 vacation. It has been a long time since we have been able to go there. It'll most likely come late March, early April, so it's still a long time till it'll come, but possibly get exciting. Hopefully the plans don't change. We are still deciding some things where we want to do in Vegas, but yeah, it'll be late March, early April 2024, Las Vegas for Travel Tidbits. It'll be a series like we did for the Mexico vacation last year. So yeah, get excited for that. But I'll be putting out a poll soon of a game that I could play soon now that Prietology is coming to a close. I want to try doing some new things. I'm graduating soon. I want to do like a college vlog thing, but that'll come during the summer. But yeah, I'm going to put out a poll soon, probably next weekend, about some games that I could do, considering that we're going back to gaming soon. But yeah, next episode is the final episode of Season 5 and the final episode of Prietology in general. It's the series finale. Do not miss it. It'll be a full-fledged finale. We'll celebrate the past 4 incredible years of Prietology and the 5 seasons that we've been able to do, and close out Prietology Season 5 and the series with a bang. So, get excited for that. That will be coming. It will premiere, mark this in your calendars, April 21st, 2024. That will be the finale of Prietology, the series finale, and the Season 5, Episode 8. Get excited for that. We will be talking about the universe and space-time. The concept of space-time is a mind-boggling thing. We'll talk about dark matter, the Big Bang Theory, not the show, the actual Big Bang Theory. Space-time, dark matter, dark energy. What the heck is dark energy and dark matter? And the possibility of it leading us into the future. Stuff like gravity, like what the heck is really gravity, dark matter, and the possibility of like other dimensions existing. We're gonna wrap up Prietology with a bang, talking about our existence into the future. The next video of Dprieto TV will actually be Cuphead. We are going back to Inkwell Isle. That will come on March 4th. So get excited for that. Cuphead number, I think it's 10. Yeah, Cuphead number 10 coming on March 4th. Get excited for that. But besides that, yeah, that is an end. We hope to see you for the finale coming on April 21st. But yeah, Cuphead number 4 next time. Get excited for that. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. And yeah, see ya and remote.